Joining me
Yes.
right now on Kumite TV is UFC lightweight Nick Hein. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
No doubt, no doubt. Let's talk about UFC Hamburg last year. You dropped a close split decision. When you look back at that fight, what's your assessment on the judges' scorecards?
There's this saying, don't leave it to the judges, and it's kind of right. I still believe I did a good fight. I thought I had it after the 3 rounds. Like after the last round, I went to my coach and I asked him, "What do you think?" And he said, "You got it." I was sure I had it. Looking back, there's always things you can adjust that you might do better. And I took this fight as like a learning process for the upcoming fight. To switch things up to make it better. And there's never that perfect. You can never say, "Oh, I did everything that I had to do." So I'm originally a judo player. I should know some takedowns and stuff, and that was like the critique of some fans. They said you should throw more. Maybe sometimes the fans are right. So I took that all in for the process for the upcoming fight.
All right. Well, coming out of that fight, how were you physically?
In that fight or after the
Afterwards,
fight.
afterwards.
Oh man, I don't know if you saw if the people saw my face. I looked like a pancake. My face was like all swollen up, and but that is all like superficial. It's just on the outside. It was a little bit blood and some swelling, but it makes some good pictures that you can show later. But I had no serious injuries or anything.
All right. Well, you've been out of action for about 10 months now. Before you got back into training
Yes.
camp, what were you doing to keep yourself busy? Did you get into any acting?
Actually, yes. And you know what? Today in Germany, there's gonna be a documentary broadcasted because I do a lot of. I don't always do acting. I also do some how you call it? Like I'm like a reporter. I go out and then I go to no-go areas and that stuff. And I did some of this. And today, there's a show coming in Germany, and it's about police and like the stuff that is going right and wrong. And I remember it was shortly after my last fight, and I used the word. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but shit. Like this is shit, that is shit. I use it so often that they asked me not to say it anymore. So I'm really, I'm really curious what they made out of that. But yeah, let's see that.
Are you looking into doing that for, another career, maybe something after you stop fighting?
I mean, I'm already doing it. So, like people are always saying, he's like, not all people, but some people they say, you should focus on this thing, and then some other people say, he's preparing to do something after fighting. But life is not like a book where there's a chapter and then one thing ends and then a new chapter starts. So I'm doing it already now, and it's actually really fun. Um, I mean, when you're fighting professionally and training every day, this can be very, very boring and very unchallenging. It's like you're doing always the same thing, and it's very, very. It can sometimes even like break you. And to have like different things and be able to be good maybe in different areas is really a big motivation.
So, to those haters, because they're kind of like haters, they're always telling you to do this and do that. You're writing
Yes,
chapters.
yes,
You're basically writing chapters of your book at the same time. You could say that to them, right?
yes, absolutely. And like I, it's there's a lot of like people that they everybody has haters, everybody, and there's like a certain amount that if you put yourself out there and you risk something, it's so easy to point fingers at you and say, you failed, what a loser, go back to nowhere. But that's exactly the difference, to be happy and to fulfill yourself, man, you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta risk something. And I believe, although sometimes it's hard, you have to just like go and stand through it, and don't care, what people say, because nobody like, let's be honest, like we are all a little bit like this. If we see a video on Instagram and somebody like stumbles and falls, it's kind of funny, because it doesn't happen to us. But you gotta brush that off and stand tall, I believe.
Definitely, some words of wisdom, man. Now, let's move on to your next fight at UFC Stockholm. They announced in the beginning that you're going to fight Luigi Vendramini, but not long after, he was forced out. I think maybe a week later due to a knee injury. Did they have Frank Camacho already lined up for you when they broke the news to you that your original opponent, pulled out?
I got the info in the same email. Like they told me Vendramini is out, but they have already a replacement. The thing is, Camacho, he's so different than Vendramini. Vendramini more like trying to move like sideways, not always engage, and Camacho basically up front, like in your face punching. So they say, if you're still in, you can fight him. And I think it was even on my birthday, so I said, yeah, of course, yes, I want to fight. So yeah, it took some time till the news broke, but yeah, like I knew it right away that would face him.
Well, Frank Camacho, you mentioned that he is a different style. What do you think of his style, the fighting style that he brings to the octagon?
He is actually a very exciting fighting style, and he's somebody that that really, there's almost no chance of not having an exciting fight when he's involved. Like he brings it. So actually, I liked the fact that I would fight him, because I knew that it will be a barn burner. It will be good. So I believe he's what I could see, he's a very, very strong guy, and he has heart for two reasons, because as the way he fights, and also for taking the fight like on a short notice. So I mean, it's what people always say, it's going to be an exciting fight, but I'm really sure of that. Yes.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. You mentioned earlier that training and fighting and preparing for fights can be boring, but when you have an opponent like him coming up, does it really get you excited deep down inside?
Yeah, it does, but it's not like because of this opponent, but having, like it's you gotta imagine. I'm right now, I'm doing my training and stuff, so everything is set up for fight preparation. But nonetheless, when I'm at home, when I'm playing a video game, when I'm in my car, I'm doing really normal stuff. And then sometimes it hits you. It's like, shit, man, 3 weeks. I'm gonna have to go in that cage and then fight somebody until blood comes, and maybe somebody gets hurt. Like it's so unreal sometimes, and because we all try to make things normal, like for ourselves. Like if everybody, like the human species, is designed to take everything and make it normal for himself, like to adjust to a situation. So I adjust, and then I do my normal life. I go shopping, and I, like now we're talking, like we do normal stuff, and then suddenly it hits you. It's like, shit. It's like 21 days, and I'm gonna hit a guy in the face, and he's gonna try to kill me maybe too. Like this sometimes it happens, definitely. Yes.
For this training camp, you must have had to make a lot of adjustments, because of the opponent change. But where have you been training? Who have you been training with?
I've been training specifically with German coaches and German fighters this time. I used to live in Los Angeles for 2 years, And before that, in Thailand, I trained in Phuket, and now I did in Germany. I have two coaches, Chari Ermis and Aziz Karaoglu, and I have a fitness coach. His name is Dimitri. Of course, Dimitri. This is the name. This is how fitness coaches' names are. And I train with some former training partners of mine from my earlier days. So I basically went a little bit back to the roots, if you may say that. And it's a little bit like Rocky, I imagine. You see sometimes when Rocky fights like Ivan Drago, and Ivan Drago, he's like in that very, very modern training facility, and they have all the machines and stuff. And Rocky, he's going he's training old school. So for this training camp, we went old school.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of guys, are in the UFC, veterans, they always go out from their country or from their home and go train at different locations. And you've seen that with probably past teammates at Tiger, like Dan Hooker, guys like that, and they go back home and they know what they need. And I think you're in the same situation where you know what you need to prepare yourself the best way you can, and you just do it at home now. You don't have to go out anymore.
Yes, I believe it's a little bit has to do it's almost like puberty, when you're you want to see the world, you're young, and then you're like, I will never go, I will never stay at my parents' place, that is so boring. And then, you see the world, and then at some time, you realize what is good for you, and then you settle down. And it's the same with fighting. I started, and then I realized, I want to see how's training at the other side of the pond, like in America, in Thailand. I had many locations I want to try, and then I realized, what? When I saw it, they don't do magic there either. It's like work, and some stuff is good, some is not as good as at home. So I decided to go back, and I also am now in the age of being able to make my own decisions. I don't need that old coach that takes me by the hand and tells me, chase the chicken, or do this or do that. I do it myself now.
You and Frank Camacho are kind of in a similar position. You guys are coming off 2 losses in a row, and I think this is the first time both of you guys have lost 2 in a row. So entering this fight, is there a different mentality for you, or is it just the same thing as always?
It's hard to say that you ignore it totally, but it doesn't really help. So it hasn't played a major role in my preparation. I do mental preparation as well, and in that aspect, I try to foresee things and work with stuff that might happen in the fight. But that is something, it won't happen until after the fight. If, for example, we are all the danger or the fear of being cut, or maybe what happens after that. That is stuff that happens after that fight. Could also be the total opposite. Could be we could both have the greatest performance of our lives, and then you bounce back from that, and then you become you go on a killing spree and erase every other opponent. So to be honest, and I really mean it, it didn't bother me too much, actually.
There have been a lot of UFCs in Germany. What is the state? I'm very curious myself. What is the state of MMA right now in your home country?
That is actually a good question. We have developed, and it happens that TV contracts and TV bans have been lifted. There's new contracts and stuff, but it's, in my opinion, it still hasn't arrived in the general public. If, for example, right now I'm at my parents' place, where I grew up in a village. If I go out and talk to people on the street and ask them, hey, what do you think? Who's your favorite MMA fighter? It will be like, MMA, what is that? You know, what is that? Like, it's really still a very, very um, like a niche. You know, it isn't mainstream yet at all.
One last thing before I let you go, music and sports, they go hand in hand. What is in your playlist, for training? Give me a little peek into it.
Oh, you will love that. Wait. I show you. I show you. I have I have like a very, very I have a lot of, and you know, you need to understand, I grew up really on the countryside, so I really like country music. So I have um, like Bob Seger, for example. I have Creedence Clearwater Revival, like
All right,
Fortunate
all right.
Son and Bad Moon Rising. Wait, what else do I have? Let me show you some. Um, Eastbound and Down from Jerry Reed. Yeah, what else do we have? Take Me Home, Country Roads from John Denver. Yeah, Greg Allman, The Midnight Rider. Like, if seriously, if I had like a stray hat and some like self-made cigarette, you know, I would be like a real redneck. Like, like if you listen to my music for sure.
Yeah, well, those are some classic songs, though. You named some good ones.
I love them. I love them. I really do.
All right, June 1st, man. UFC on ESPN Plus 11, Stockholm, Sweden. Thank you, Nick, for your time. I appreciate it a lot, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye. Hey guys, this is Sarge Nick Hein. I'm a professional mixed martial artist competing in the UFC. I have a fight coming up in 3 weeks. And yeah, so hello to all my fans, especially from South Korea. Raise your hands up in 3 weeks when I fight in UFC Stockholm.